Welcome to the Roaring Reactions with your crew, me and my homie over here, Justin Lacey. Welcome to the show, bud. Did you have a good Sunday today? Did you have a nice, relaxing Sunday?
I did. It was great to just sit down and pop a couple of drinks and then just be in my comfort zone, in my element, and watch
Yeah.
the Bengals game. I missed it. This is what I've been waiting 7 months for. And since they wrapped up the season last year, I just feel like it always feels like it's been forever and a day to get to this
hmm
point. And win, lose, or draw, it was just nice to wake up early morning at the crack of dawn for me. Even though the game kicked off at 1 o'clock, I was up at like 8 a.m. just going downstairs, prepping myself for game day.
Yeah.
It was like I was tailgating in my own house and I didn't really do anything. So I mean, it was good. It was a nice, relaxing Sunday for me.
Yeah. I woke up this morning and sitting here just relaxing, playing some video games. Kind of going over, seeing what time, who was playing at what time, and what station they were going to be on, and then I got close to the Bengals game. I made my cup of coffee and was like, okay,
Hmm.
here we go. Let everybody know, hey, if I don't respond to you, it's because I'm really focused in on this Bengals game because this is huge. This is a battle of Ohio for us. The Bengals
Right.
versus the Browns. It's something that's very, you know, it's an AFC North game. Also, it's a division opponent, but it's also a state opponent. And
Yeah.
I know last year we took both games from them last year, so
Mhm.
I was nervous. I was nervous about this game, believe it or not. But we'll get into that. But thank you guys for joining Justin and I. Brandon is MIA somewhere. He's lost in Pittsburgh or somewhere. Who knows? He's just doing his own thing. I guess he just forgot that we were going to do the roaring reactions today before the Ravens and Bills games tonight. So yeah, Justin and I, here we are. You know what? Let's go ahead and give the Bengals beat the Browns. Like I said, 17-16. It was a slobber not. It was a sloppy. It was really a sloppy game on offense for us.
Mhm. Yeah.
But we had some hope in there from our defense. But Justin, go ahead and give your general reactions to the game. How did you feel about it?
From the very first start of when the Bengals possessed the ball to start the game off, I was actually nervous too, just like you were saying, just because for the most part, I just don't know what the game plan goes on when they get ready to face a divisional opponent, especially on the road. Cleveland has not been kind to, you can say the Bengals, but they haven't been kind to anybody in the AFC.
Right.
Going up and playing in Cleveland sneakily is a tough place to play. And for the
Yep.
Bengals to win that game last year in Cleveland, where they even made it a dogfight even then, I thought that this was going to be a game where I felt like, the Bengals are going to show that they're going to arrive. The first possession, they came out running the ball, which was something that I've always wanted to see. And if you're a follower of me on Twitter, you would have seen me posted that over the times that the Bengals have played the Browns, it was always frustrating to me that they played right into the hands of the defense, their strength, their pass rush, their D line, because they always wanted to abandon the run and just go straight passing. It's like they're trying to prove
Yep.
something. Well, that
Yep.
first drive, they chewed up a good ton of time off the clock and just ran the ball effectively. Chase Brown got the opening score, and I'm like, here we go. This is exactly what we want to do. We're showing that
hmm
we're a team that can diversify our offense a little bit, play some smash mouth football. And the patience in which Chase Brown showed on that touchdown run, that was the most exciting part for me.
hmm
And as the game went on, obviously, I thought that it was going to get a little bit more offensive juggernaut. Like, okay, the Bengals are going to open up the playbook a little bit, but it didn't happen that way. It was very frustrating because the defense, who got all of the eyeballs throughout the
Yep.
entire offseason, got criticized for the most part throughout the entire offseason. Going into this game,
Yeah.
the microscope was on them. And they
Yeah.
actually stood tall quite a bit. Now, don't get me wrong, the
hmm
Browns also beat themselves with drop passes and stuff like that, but the defense
Yep.
stood tall. And that's what we asked them to do. We wanted them to just be good, just be okay. The offense can take care of the rest. But the offense didn't take care of the rest when it came to the second half of the football game. If I calculated it correctly, I think they only had a total of 7 yards in the second half on offense. That was not good. They got a lot of work to do, but at the end of the day, man, I'm happy that they got this win, man. What say you?
Yeah, it was an ugly, sloppy win. I think we only had 141 yards total offense. Joe Burrow had 98 yards passing. It's like what's and I'm not going to not give Cleveland Browns defense the credit where credit is due, because when we came out there in the very first drive, we were showing them, hey, we're out here to play some ball. And then that tide kind of changed. It just got to be stale. It actually honestly got to be stale. And then of course Zach Taylor, he abandons the run game completely, really. He just abandoned the run game. And every time Joe Burrow's back in shotgun formation, they know he's going to pass the ball. Everybody knows that. We're going to throw the ball 99.9% of the time. So, Joe Burrow, I'm not going to put it all on Joe Burrow's shoulders, but I'm also going to put it on Zach Taylor's play calling. His play calling is weak.
Right.
Sauce,
absolutely,
man.
dreadful, man.
Like, how can you run the football in that first possession? Chase Brown is running the football like a man possessed. He's just having his way. The offensive line is blocking great, making holes. Yeah, there was some penalties called, and some of them came back, but it just it hit the message for Zach Taylor's offense. And I'm going to put it on him because he's the head coach and he's the one that's calling the offense. Right. It got stale. It got truly stale. And Kevin Stefanski and the defense coordinator, I don't know who the coordinator is for the Cleveland Browns because I don't remember off the top of my head. But
same. I don't remember either. I think Alex Van Pelt, maybe. I can't remember.
Maybe, I don't remember, but it just got stale. That offense got stale. But I'm going to tell you this right now. We had our goggles on that defense. And I'm sure, Justin, like you said, everybody was watching the whole. I know we were playing against the Cleveland Browns, but our defense actually stepped up, made some key turnovers, with Jordan Battle with the interception, DJ Turner with an interception. We got some sacks in there. You saw Shamar Stewart was back there.
He was batting balls down.
Osai, Trey Henderson,
Demetrius Knight.
That front line was actually looking really good. But the only thing is I have somebody that sent me a message earlier today and said, how did you guys beat the Cleveland Browns and Flacco threw for almost 300 yards? Well, our secondary is kind of, and I don't get me wrong. Yeah, we got those 2 turnovers when we needed them to. And that's what we need from our defenses to, be the middle of the pack. We don't have to be top one, be the middle of the pack, make turnovers when we need them to actually happen.
And to add on top of that, here's the thing. I get so tired of when hearing outside of the court of public opinion say just be middle of the pack. What does middle of the pack mean? It means you can get the ball, you can make plays when it matters the most. It means that you can get critical turnovers, critical stops when you absolutely need it the most. That's what we mean by just being just average, being just good. You're going to get beat at times. The Bengals defense, they did get gashed at times. The Browns, credit to them in their game plan on offense. They played keep away for the Bengals offense by just controlling the ball, just chewing up a lot. Their first drive ended up bled into the second quarter. And it was like, dude, we didn't even see the ball until like a minute and 12 on a game clock or something like that, whatever. Yeah. And it was so crazy frustrating. It was like, dude, first of all, I get it, man. Penalties, it's frustrating when you have to deal with the refs all the time, but let's not put this game on just penalties for the time being, because the defense did stand tall and they did do what they needed to do when you needed them to show up the most. Like I said, the Browns offense handed them some gifts. The Browns kicking game handed them some gifts. Missed extra point, missed field goal. It's like, whoa. I mean, I don't know about you, but if the Browns would have went up 19-17 in that spot, man, I wasn't feeling good about the Bengals' chances to go down the field and get a game-winning drive there. I just didn't, because Zach Taylor, you just mentioned it. In these moments, in these spots, when he plays right into the hands of the opponent, he tightens up, especially when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, bro. Like, I don't understand what it is about this Browns defense that he just can't make plays on. The same, like with Joe Burrow, like he just can't make the clutch throws on this defense. And it's like, but everybody else in the league can. But look, I'm trying not to be super critical of this Bengals team because they have a history of starting slow in this era. They've been terrible, like putridly awful in week 1 and in week 2. They got the monkey off their back by just finding a way to win and just packing your stuff up and coming on home 1-0. You did what you needed to do. Okay. Let's tuck this one away and let's get into next week and let's go ahead and say, like, all right, you're at home, you open an orange. I wish it would have been a better statement when you from 2 years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
wish it would have been a better statement than that, because I predicted a 37-17 win for the Bengals, and they had chances when the defense got them the ball with those takeaways and a fourth down stop right there. The Bengals offense had plenty of opportunities to put this game away early. They just did not. And that's another criticism that's gone so far under the radar, because we love saying about the Bengals in this offense that they're the one that's going to be the juggernaut that lead the team. They can score on anybody. Well, they didn't do it today. And look, it's week one, it's early. I'm not going to try to overreact right now, of course, because a lot of weird things happen in week one. But this can't continue. For once, I want to see the Bengals play complimentary football. Don't you want to see that? You know what I mean? Like, both sides just compliment each other, man. Like, and I just don't think that they're doing that enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right on the head with that. It's just I was sitting here going, come on, do something. There's that meme with that little stick guy with the stick in his hand poking the Cincinnati Bengals logo, like, do something. And that's how I felt this whole after that initial drive. Well, actually, after we went up 14-7, it was just kind of like, where are we at here? So
radio silence.
It was just, it was. But on that note, we're gonna go ahead.
Before we go to break, I gotta ask you this question, bro, because I know you saw it, the same thing that I saw, and you probably thought the exact same thing. How do you feel when the Bengals did not go for it on 4th and inches? When they were somewhat deep in their territory, it was late in the ball game. They just needed a few inches just to get the first down. What was your thought when they punted the ball away? Now, we know that the defense got the interception and basically sealed the deal right there, but what was your thoughts when the Bengals didn't go for it?
So I knew exactly what they were going to do, because I called it out right before it happened. I said, "Here's the deal: they're going to come out there in fourth and goal formation." I knew that they were going to let the clock run. They were going to try to get an offside, of course, and try to get the automatic first down. But they got the delay of game and they punted the ball. That's like typical Zach Taylor right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we would have gotten the first down, it would have took the sails out of the Browns in a heartbeat. But if we wouldn't have, we would have given them better field position. And actually, when it comes to clock management, or even just management of the ball, I'm sorry, but I believe that was the right call to punt the ball. Because what if we would have went for it, we would have got denied, and then next they got a good field position, and to try to kick another field goal to win the game, and then next the Bengals lose 19-17, something like that. So I believe it was the right call. But during that series, though, Zach was not making the right calls on offense. They were not.
He was not.
They killed Chase Brown's stat line. What they were doing, they murdered his stat line. Those stat line, that part of that stat line shouldn't even be included on Brown's stat line. Sorry, it shouldn't, but it's gonna, because it's a play on it's a play on down. So, but yeah, I agree. And how did you feel? Like, I bet you were losing your shit over there.
I was, and I wanted to. Here's my thought process behind it: because you put all the money onto the offensive side of the ball. Joe Burrow is one of the higher paid quarterbacks. You made Jamar Chase one of the higher paid quarterbacks in the league. T. Higgins got his contract. Chase Brown, he was cooking at some point today, and at some point you're going to face situations like this. Like, you know what? I want to put my big boy pants on. I know that they know that we're running the ball here, but you go out there and you go get a freaking foot. Okay, that's all you're asking to do. For the Bengals to punt it, yes, I know the defense got the interception, and that basically sealed the win. But I didn't feel good about them punting it in that situation, even though ultimately the Bengals probably look like geniuses. Yes, if you would have missed and the Browns would have kicked the game-winning field goal, so to speak, then you went down swinging with your best players. That's how I feel. And you got to stop with this playing scared. I just think that Zach Taylor gets away with playing scared in these situations instead of just playing aggressive and then knowing that you got the best players on the side of the ball there, you let the Browns defensive front eat on your offensive line, man. I don't like that. Don't get me wrong. This is no disrespect to the Browns D line, because that unit, they are tough. Okay. We know what Myles Garrett is, but Malik Collins, the boy, or Malik Harris, whatever his name is, and then you got now Mason Graham, who was just firing off the ball off the line, just penetrating the damn backfield. I was like, dude, who's stopping this dude? Like, what is going on here? And then on the other side, there's Isaiah McGuire. Like, they got a lot of guys on that front line that look. Then Grant Delpit, when he was talking to us about the D line gonna make it a hell for the Bengals O line, he wasn't lying. We saw it. But in that moment, when it's time to win the ball game, you play like a mess on offense. You got to believe that this team got to go out there and get it done. And I just felt like that it was a crazy cop out to say, all right, defense, we're going to trust in you to do it again. And what if what if that defense would have broken? Like Joe Flacco goes down the field and gets in the field goal range, runs the clock down and kicks the field goal, and game is over. What if that would have happened? Then we're looking at Zach Taylor completely differently. But because they got the ricochet interception, we're not doing that. Okay. I'm not letting them off the hook with that there. That's why I say, like, look, even though ultimately it was the right call and the game ended up playing in our favor, I just felt like Zach Taylor is just holding his team back some way. It's like one of those things where there's just something missing when it comes to his coaching style.
Right. It should not take week 5 for him to finally get it together, honestly. But
he's 7 years in, man.
Yeah, right. So on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with you guys, and then we will go over the offense and defensive game balls. We'll be right. All right, welcome back to the Roaring Reactions with my boy Justin and me, Tim Lyons.
Yeah. Hey, Austin Hart cooking in the comments, but he's by himself there, but we appreciate you, my guy.
I'm trying to keep up, man. I just can't. I'm driving this ship today. Believe it or not, this is my first show that I'm driving. Usually, I drive by myself, so I'm solo. I don't worry about nothing. But I'm glad to have Justin here with me, so we can bounce back and forth and go over some stuff. So, but and again, welcome back to the Roaring Reactions. We're gonna do the offensive game balls, or offensive and defensive game balls. Justin, I'm gonna let you go first with your offensive game ball. Who was your offensive game ball going to?
Yeah. When we did the pregame preview show before last week, just last week, I had stated that Chase Brown was my offensive game ball prediction, even though the Bengals got a plethora of weapons and stuff like that. But I just felt like that this is going to probably be the time that fans are going to know and national pundits are going to know who Chase Brown really is. And that's the guy that I'm picking to get the game ball on offense too. Again, the season, it's a long season. We're going to see Joe Burrow at his best. We're going to see Jamar and T at their best. Right. I like what Noah Fant did to catching the only receiving touchdown for Joe Burrow today. But I think that Chase Brown, if it wasn't for him and his running capabilities early on in the game today, dude, the Bengals would not have won this game. If the Bengals would have abandoned the run at the early portion of the first half, if they would have just went straight shotgun passing and stuff like that, the Bengals were not going to win this game based off of how the Browns just teed off with the pass rush. But Chase Brown is the main reason why the Bengals won the game, just because his patience, his vision, his running capabilities, making guys miss, just getting the tough yards. And then the touchdown run that he had, that was like Le'Veon Bell like touchdown, man. That was phenomenal, bro. Yeah, that's why he's getting my game ball for the offense.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. My game ball goes to Chase Brown as well. Chase Brown, if you saw some of his runs, he was making cuts like out of nowhere. He made a cut and he was just down the field for 10 yards. There was one play that we got called for, I think it was illegal formation. I believe it was illegal formation on Mims. I believe it was.
Yeah, I remember.
Chase just took the ball down the field, and I was like, there you go, Brown. And the next it came back for illegal formation. But Chase Brown, like me, if you're new, I know this MV Pro season, maybe that's what it is. You're new to the show, but I'm a run the damn ball type of guy. I love to run the ball. I know I'm on the wrong team, the wrong franchise here, because we know we pass the ball 70% of the time. But if we would have kept, I wish we would have kept to that run game. But Chase Brown is definitely getting my offensive game ball, no doubt. And of course, like you showed out, Noah Fant had 4 receptions and the only receiving touchdown of the game. That offensive line did not look bad, believe it or not. And Myles Garrett was all over the field, was all over the place in that first half. And of course, they had those two sacks, but that offensive line played well. But anyways, that's my offensive game ball. Defensive game ball, Justin, and who do you think should get your defensive game ball?
There's a lot of guys that you can pick from this list. Now, again, during the preview show that we did on Running Through the Jungle, I actually went with TJ Slayton, and I even think that he even made an impact. He knifed in the backfield and pressured Joe Flacco at times. He also got in the backfield and stopped Rocket. What's his name? The Browns.
Raheem Sanders.
Yes, Rocket Sanders. I keep blanking on his last because I want to say Dylan Sampson. Which Dylan Sampson, look, he's going to be a heck of a weapon for the Browns too. I think that the Browns have retooled their running game a little bit better nowadays. Even though I know it's not the Nick Chubbs of the world, but man, you can go different ways with this one. I think I'm going to go with Logan Wilson. And the reason why I'm going to go with Logan Wilson is because he took some heat too in training camp, myself included. I even said I folded when we played check, raise, or fold. I said that I was going to fold on Logan Wilson. He just looks a little too like a step slow. He's just not there. But today he made some plays. Now he wasn't one of the 2 that got the turnovers or whatnot, but he was just always around the ball. I mean, before the Browns scored their first touchdown of the day with that 4th down 1 yard from the 1 yard line, it was Logan Wilson that got the 3rd down stop. And he just penetrated and knifed right there in the back and just got him. And I was like, okay, Logan Wilson may be back. He was also making clutch tackles in space. And I'm just looking at this like, okay, man. Yeah, even though it's week 1, but he's playing like the Logan Wilson that we've all came to know and love. And we got scared a little bit because he went into the locker room with a head injury or under the blue tent. But he came back out and he just showed like that dog mentality that we missed out on. So it's going to be him for me, even though I know you can give it to plenty of guys.
Right. Yeah, you can definitely give it to, you could have gave it to Jordan Battle. You could have gave it to Demarius Knight. You could have given it to DJ Turner. We could have gave it to Trey Hendrickson, anybody. But definitely that defense showed what we were really looking for. And I know we were playing against the Cleveland Browns, but that defensive front really just kind of I think it made the national media take a step back and go, wait a minute here. But my defensive game ball on that. Welcome back, BJ Hill. Welcome back, BJ Hill. BJ Hill, man. I'm sorry. That dude, welcome back. He was out there just playing great ball. He got a sack, got a quarterback hit. I think there was a pass deflection too. He was just BJ Hill. Welcome back, man. I'm glad to have you back. I'm glad to see that you're healthy on the field. And that's my defensive game ball. But like we said, we could have given the ball to a lot of the defenders. We could have given it to Trey Hendrickson. And I know Shamar Stewart wasn't really credited with any sacks or nothing, but they should have really credited him with a half of a sack on that one that him and Trey Hendrickson had, but they only credited Trey Hendrickson with the sack. They didn't give it to half a sack to Shamar Stewart. But welcome to the team, Shamar Stewart. You guys put pressure on Joe Flacco. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more stunts and stuff to be able to. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me finish that thought before I go into this one. But I would have loved to seen a little bit more, stunts, whatever, and put a little bit more pressure on Joe Flacco. But where was my thought at? I lost it. Oh my gosh, I should have just went with it when I was going to talk about it, but I lost it. But anyways, my defensive game ball goes to BJ Hill. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you're back, and I'm sure there'll be more game balls. Any other final? You have any other final thoughts on the game, or just your final thoughts at all, Justin?
Yeah, my final thoughts on the game is: look, it's nice to get the monkey off our backs. We have been getting disrespected about the slow start, and there was too much emphasis on it to the point where it's like, if the Bengals were to start 0-1 again, yeah, this is a Zach Taylor problem. I still feel like that we got somewhat of a Zach Taylor problem because I just don't feel like that we're getting the very best from the team because he's the head coach right now. But it is too early to decide. He has plenty of time to prove me wrong, obviously. But at the end of the day, I just feel like I know what I'm getting now when it comes to him as a head coach. I don't really feel like that there's enough creativity on offense. So a team like the Browns should not make you piss down your leg when it comes to clutch time like that. When it comes time to win the game, it shouldn't make you feel like you gotta make your butthole clench really tight to the point where you're scared to try to at least get 1 foot. And I keep talking about the 4th down play and all that, but that's just my overall feeling. I felt like that even last year and the year before that Joe Burrow has to carry Zach Taylor's play calling on his back because I just feel like he's not always put in the best situations. And I think one of the things that Zach Taylor mentioned in his press conference that I saw is he could have done a better job putting them in position. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You know, we say this about you every year. You know, you got to get you're in year 7 now, and you're still making calls like this. You're still doing stuff like this. So it is very frustrating to see this unfold right in front of our very own eyes. And the defense. Oh, and you know what? Special teams. Shout out to the special teams too. Ryan Recal punted that ball down the side the 1 because if they would have gotten any kind of punt return from that, dude, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I felt like that they would have had a little bit of juice and energy, but because they were backed up to the 99 to the 1 yard line, there was no way in hell that the defense is going to let them go 99 yards down the field, bro, in 19 seconds with 0 timeouts to try to win this game. So look, my final thoughts are, just to sum it all up, Bengals obviously got to be better, but it's nice to get the win for now. We'll carry the 1-0 trophy on our shoulder for the time being. We got the home opener going against Jacksonville week 2. Let's just go out there and then just get right another wrong, because last year when we opened up the season in all orange, we laid another egg against the Patriots. We already know. We talked about that stuff ad nauseum in the offseason. This time you open again in orange, but against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's do better now. Let's see what you can do. You got one monkey off your back. Go ahead and get the other monkey off your back while you at it.
Right. Yeah. So, my final thoughts are going to be straight, simple, to the point. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming and watching. If you come back and watch us, when for the replay on YouTube, you can also catch us on all your podcast platforms. Thank you, everybody who is in here. Austin, Art, thank you so much. You're always here. You're a loyal fan and listener. We appreciate you as always. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And you guys can check us out next week. We will have what's it called? The Bengals crossover show with a Jaguars fan from Limp Bizkit, the drummer. John Otto will be our guest. And then on Wednesday, we will have Running Through the Jungle's normal podcast, or our normal show, with me and Justin, and maybe Brandon Harriet will show up. I don't know. He might just appear with, just grace us with his presence. You can check us out then. And then I will also be doing my Who Day Weekly. Just to let you guys a little insight on that real quick. I'm going to do a simple little recap, a little preview to the Jaguars game for next week's game. And then I'm also going to do something different. Last year I did a fantasy football thing. I thought it was kind of boring. Some people liked it. I got bored because I was tired of reading stats off to everybody, but I'll be doing a player profile for one Cincinnati Bengal every week through the 18-week season. But thank you guys again for coming. Thank you guys again for watching. We appreciate you guys. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Who Day.